Welcome back, Wolfpack. Vrelis here. Today we're taking a trip from Kalos to Hoenn and we're bringing Dedenne with us. Dedenne is a very interesting Pokemon. It's a Pikachu clone and it's an electric fairy typing. But it doesn't get offensive fairy typing moves, and its move pool is kind of one of the reasons why we don't see it too much. Also, its stats are pretty bad, that it does have low defense, low special defense, and it doesn't have much on the offense. That 81 being your special attack, you're not going to get much done, but it does have a decent amount of speed, which means that this Pokemon isn't going to fight for itself. It's going to fight with another Pokemon, and that's where I feel its potential lies. That in doubles, Dedenne can be a huge threat, especially because of the Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire move tutors. And when we look at it, it gets Recycle and Super Fang. Super Fang is an amazing move in doubles. Does damage equal to half the target's current hit points, which means you just drop a tanky Pokemon to half immediately, then you can have your other Pokemon pick them off with a multi-hit move like Earthquake, or just target them down, and you can get a KO really effectively like that. Also, when we look at Recycle, Recycle synergizes ridiculously with Cheek Pouch. Cheek Pouch, if a Pokemon eats a berry, it restores a third of that Pokemon's hit points after the berry's effect. Well, that's 33%. Citrus Berry heals for a quarter, which is 25%, which means you're getting almost 60% of your health back, and you can kind of get that with Recycle. So, you know, you can become a support throughout Super Fangs, take a hit, get your Citrus Berry back, and then just either anticipate the damage or use it when you're getting faster. One cool thing about the 101 base speed is that you are a fairly fast Pokemon and you can play with it really well. You can start throwing out Eerie Impulses. That if you outspeed your opponent, you know, Eerie Impulse is going to lower their special attack by 2. Or you can use Charm. Charm is going to lower their attack by 2, which means on the first use, they're losing half of those stats, and that's just going to be great for your other Pokemon. That if your other Pokemon's fast, you know, throw out the Eerie Impulse, they throw out a hit, you're not going to be able to, they're not going to do much to you, and then you can really start doing more damage back. And if you drop below half, that's when you use Recycle, get 60% of your health back, and you're throwing out Super Fangs as well. So really, this Pokemon can create a huge mess for your opponent. You can also play it a little differently because in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, it does get Electro Web as a tutor move. So you can choose between Charm or Eerie Impulse and then just have Electro Web, which means you don't need to run as speedy. You can put a little more investment into your defenses, you know. I'd put a lot into the defense and then have a little in the special defense, and now you're even tankier. All that health you're getting back from your Citrus Berry and Cheek Pouch means even more, and you're just harder to knock out while you're slowing down your opponents. So they have a fast Pokemon, you throw out the Electro Web, then you follow it up with a Charm, you use Recycle to get your health back because now you're faster than them, so you're getting 60% of your health before they even attack you, and then you start throwing out Super Fangs, and remember, you have another Pokemon that's doing just as much work, if not more, like a Hard Sweeper, and your opponent's just going to have a really bad day from it. If you want to run Dedenne in singles, it is possible now because of Recycle as well. Just going to take a lot of setup, and it is going to be a bit interesting, but getting 60% of your health back on command is not bad at all. So what you want to do is you want to start out with that Nuzzle. That if your opponent isn't 2-hit KOing you, now you can absorb that hit throughout the Nuzzle. They're getting paralyzed, and Nuzzle is really cool because if they have a move or ability that stops any kind of status like Magic Bounce, you can just kind of get in and still get that status on the Pokemon, and then you just start setting up Charge Beams. So even though it's going to take some time, you can get a little bit of damage, you can try to get that special attack boost, and you know, you don't have a lot of special attack to begin with, but if you have 3-4 charges on Charge Beam while playing this really tanky game and your opponent is paralyzed so you're going ahead of them, you might be able to build up some damage, and then that's where you're going to need Hidden Power Ice. You do get walled out by Ground-type Pokemon, and even if you get set up just a little, you know, you get 1 or 2 Charge Beams before they bring in a Ground-type Pokemon, you can start throwing out the Hidden Power Ice, try to get those super effectives, and as long as you're not getting 2-hit KO'd, you get that Recycle in there, you do just a little bit more damage than they did to you, and you're good to go. So Dedenne can have that singles potential. Also, you can incorporate Nuzzle into your double battle game as well, and that's kind of what you can do with Dedenne. So it does get a huge buff because Recycle synergizing with Cheek Pouch, and you can just kind of play it as a setup Pokemon, or really, I feel that this could be a really good support in doubles. We've kind of seen it in Fan Fridays, and it can be a pesky little Pokemon. So if you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a nice day, that's how you use Dedenne in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and today we're looking at Tropius. Tropius has some interesting stats, that almost 100 on the base hit points, really, 99? And then not too much on the offenses, but still some good defensive stats, and then not a lot of speed. Look at its type, grass flying. That's not a fun typing at all. 4 times weakness to ice. This is already common because of all those 4 times weak dragons. We also have fire, rock, poison, and flying weaknesses. We do get that immunity to ground, which I guess is pretty nice, and a couple of resistances, but overall, grass flying is going to make it pretty hard to set up, but if you can get set up, this Pokemon might be pretty promising. Getting into Pokemon Showdown, Tropius gets Dragon Dance? What? None of that makes sense. Dragon Dance on Tropius? What? I don't get it. It also has some pretty good abilities. That is one of the few Pokemon to have Harvest. 50% chance that your berry is restored at the end of the turn, 100% in Sun, as well as Chlorophyll and Solar Power. Now unfortunately, its offenses don't seem really high enough to make the most out of Chlorophyll and Solar Power, and this Pokemon is also purely driven by Sunlight, that if you can put it on a Sun team, might be able to get some work in for you. But my main idea is that in singles, you can probably just go for a Dragon Dance. If the opponent is setting up, or if you really just can get going in a good way with your tankiness, you might be able to survive pretty well. That if you just fully invest in the hit points, invest enough in your speed that you're outspeeding 135 base speed Pokemon after 2 boosts, that's pretty much what this is all about. That Dragon Dance boosts your attack and speed by 1, so you use it twice, doubles your speed. That's going to get you over most of the fast Pokemon in the game, and then you're really set up from there. That Body Slam Seed Bomb, going to be a good amount of damage. Seed Bomb, going to have Stab, or you can also run Bullet Seed. Bullet Seed is a really interesting kind of gamble. That if it's 3 times, you're doing slightly less damage than Body Slam. If it's 4 or 5 times, you're doing much more damage. But if it's at 2 times, you're doing a lot less damage, and it's just kind of a risk from there. Body Slam is a move I really enjoy because not many people know that if the opponent has used Minimize, Body Slam doubles in power. Also, that 30% chance to paralyze is really good as well. That some Pokemon, you know, if you hit them with a Body Slam or 2, they're paralyzed. Now they're even slower, and now they're just going to have that chance of being hindered, while also just being shut down just a bit by it, and then Protect. My idea, you Dragon Dance, Citrus Berry happens, you use Protect, depending on where your health is, Citrus Berry happens again because of Harvest, and you just try to stall it out while getting some good synergy off that Citrus Berry into Dragon Dance, and this is where even Fly could work. That since Fly puts you semi-invulnerable for that one turn, you know, Dragon Dance gives you that speed boost, you might get that outspeed, which is why we have the EVs spread out the way that we do. And then after that, you know, you use Fly, you might be up in the air, Harvest gets your Citrus Berry back, you land, you take damage, and then you can set up another Dragon Dance, Citrus Berry heals you, and then you have a good amount of damage from there. But the problem is, you know, so many super effective hits, that if somehow you get to find a Pokemon that's only packing neutral, you're going to be very solid, but with all the things they have to dodge, it's going to be very hard to get Tropius set up. However, if it does, it might look pretty promising with that Dragon Dance. Now, its offenses aren't the greatest, though, so pretty much you're going to be somewhat bulky, trying to throw out the strongest hits possible to hit KOing your opponent while not getting destroyed in return. That, again, if you can outspeed, maybe find that coverage, hit those super effective hits, it could go really nice for you, because you do have good stab, flying and grass can work out pretty well, and again, we already discussed Body Slam a bit. Another thing Tropius can do is max out the special defense, max out the hit points, and just go for Curse and some kind of stall. That Chesto with Harvest is going to give you an almost infinite Chesto Resto. Curse is going to give you a really good amount of defenses that will help you survive some of those super effective hits. And then we have Toxic to burn down your opponent, and Earthquake to hit the Pokemon that aren't affected by it. Now Toxic and Earthquake are walled out by poison Pokemon with Levitate. Gengar and Weezing come to mind, but overall, you know, this can get some good stall, this can get some good bulk, and Earthquake gets to be doing a lot of damage. If the Pokemon isn't immune or resisted to Earthquake, after a couple of Curse, you could be packing a serious punch while also being very hard to knock out in return. That's what I've got for Tropius, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Very interesting Pokemon. Unfortunately, just doesn't have a lot of offenses that you can naturally run away with. If it did, we have a little bit more of a use with Chlorophyll and Solar Power. But overall, Harvest, Sustain, Citrus Berry, Dragon Dance, tanky setup Pokemon does have a little bit of a chance of working, and it might work out for you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope you all have a nice day. Welcome back, Wolfpack. Verlis here, and this is how to use Terrakion. So Terrakion going to be the second for the legendary trio of Justice, and it's going to be pretty solid as well when it comes to being a pure offensive boss. So we are going to have 129 on the attack, and we're pretty much in the same thing as Cobalion with that speed. 108 speed. We're outspeeding quite a bit. We're outspeeding actually quite a lot. But we're not going to get into this insane, untouchable kind of sleeper realm, but we are going to outspeed the Pokemon that count. Those 100 base speed Pokemon, like Mega Kangaskhan, and some 105 base speed Pokemon, just the random ones that aren't quite 110, but can still pack a punch. So you're there to be like an anti-sweeper for those mid-range sweeping Pokemon. The rest of the stats are also really good. 91 hit points, 90s on defenses. It's going to be pretty difficult to knock us out neutrally. Only some of the most powerful stat-boosted stats will be able to do that. And when it comes to our typing though, neutral might not matter as much. Rock, fighting typing, oh boy, that's a lot of weaknesses. So fighting, ground, steel, water, grass, psychic, and fairy. Now that is going to be kind of difficult for us, but as long as we are mowing down everything in our way along the way, it doesn't matter if we are enduring super effective hits because we won't have to worry about seeing them. Rock does also give us a couple resistances with that fighting. Normal, poison, rock, bug, fire, and dark on those resistances. But dang, that's a lot of weaknesses. Alright, time to go and hop into Pokemon Showdown. Alright, so I'm going to lead with the moveset on everybody's minds. Everyone wants to see the beat up Terrakion strategy for doubles, so might as well start with it. Didn't do it with Cobalion. I feel Terrakion is much stronger with it, so let's go and see what it's all about. Terrakion, with a Pokemon that has beat up, pretty much writes itself from this point. If you guys aren't super familiar with it, what happens is beat up does damage for each healthy Pokemon that you have, ergo a Pokemon that isn't fainted, and it's also a dark